Hi everyone, today I'm going to make a turkey mount out of my spring 2021 turkey. I have never done this before, so just bear with me as I go along. You can make this many ways. It depends on your skill level, what you have to work with. If you're using a store-bought mount or you're actually making it on your own, what your skill level is, how much of a perfectionist you are. So I kind of fall in between. I'm never really a perfectionist, but overall it kind of works out in the end. So what I have are the two wings, the tail feathers, the two spurs, and the beard, and I'm going to make my own mount. So let's get started. I'm using a medium-sized rectangle board, a small piece of wood, brush, clear spray paint, various sizes of screws, glue. I later on added thread, and I'm also using hooks to hang the turkey when it's all done. I'm also using a drill, a chainsaw, and a sander. That round piece of wood you saw is the face of the mount, and I actually sliced it off with my chainsaw off of freshly cut pine from my front yard. And I actually wish that I could have cut a slanted slice that would be more like a longer oval shape, but I just couldn't do it by myself. I was actually surprised I was able to cut something so thin and so even. So then I sanded off the sides and the face so it's nice and smooth and not too bumpy or rugged. And after that piece of wood, that smaller one, I basically measured it. I'm just using some dirt and a rock instead of a pencil. I measured it to actually match the round piece because I might end up needing it to put it between the two wings. At least that's the plan. So I wanted to match it so it will not stick out. And after that, I also just sanded that off just to kind of make it nice and smooth. Making your turkey mount starts with preserving the pieces of your turkey, and I'm not sure how good of a job I've done. I did my best. What I have here is the tail feathers, and I'm usually using this piece of wood, so it has nails already in it. And then I just put the feathers on it. So the middle is here, obviously, and the bottom of the feather comes here. The bottom feather on the other side goes there, and then this way it fans out beautifully. And the hardest part is to keep it away from my dogs. So this is how I did that. It is a little bit dusty. It's been in my garage for a whole entire year, so I'm going to need to dust it off. That's mostly why I have this brush. And I'm going to try to organize these so that they're prettier. Luckily, I always save the feathers, so basically I have some of each. I can actually fill it in if I have to, and just kind of, organize these, but that's going to come later. So this is the tail. This is the wing, and what I basically did was I just cut it off. I don't know if turkeys have elbows, but if they had it, it would be right here. I cut that off and just basically put this up on my garage using nails like what I did with the tail. I had one nail here, and then it just kept it open, and then it dried like that. I mean, it's been a year, so it's definitely done. This will somehow come in the middle like this, and the tail will go on the top. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this. I need to figure it out, really. But anyways, this is one wing, and the other one looks exactly the same. The first step is to finish cleaning and brushing the tail feathers, and then the bottom layer, the one in the middle, the smallest feathers, I'm just removing some of them, not all of them. I do want one layer, but I just have some extras. It's not really even, so I'm just removing them to make it look nice. And then I'm just kind of playing around with the wood I have. I do have that half moon size wood that I may or may not use. I'm definitely using the round one. So just kind of trying to figure it out, and then turning it over. You have a lot of feathers back there. I didn't remove it when I preserved this, so I'm doing it now they're definitely not needed. Nobody's going to see them, and the flatter this can lay, the better it is. And I already sort of messed up this tail. I mean, you could see that it is 180 degrees, but those feathers are not really lining up as beautifully as they should have. And there are ways to fix it, and I'm just trying to look at them and try to figure them out. So now I'm looking at the wings, and the thing is, it's kind of, they're not flat, so they have a curve to them, which makes it super hard. Originally I wanted to just drill them to that small piece of wood and then put that face on it and the tail on the top, and that would have been it. And I actually messed around with it. I tried to drill it together, and those wings would just not stay the way they were supposed to. So that's when I really came up with this board. I just had one laying around, and I just decided that I'm not gonna do anything with the back of the wings. No one's gonna see it anyways. I'm just leaving it like that, and I'm just going to attach it with a drill. I do need that small piece of wood in the middle because that will just kind of keep things in place, and it's just, I don't know, I think it's gonna have some kind of a structure to it. And then I'm adding the tail on the top. So at this point I'm still just, you know, playing around with it and trying to figure out how I'm going to use all this. I'm still keeping that small piece of wood in mind, but I'm actually not going to use it. And then just, you know, looking at the spurs and the beard, and I have some of those small feathers, so I'm going to end up using them. So drilling the wings to the wood was the easiest thing, really, because you're just basically drilling between those really hard feathers. It's almost like drilling between bones. You're not drilling through the bone or through the feathers, you're doing it in between, but you're making it really nice and tight. So the wings are definitely attached, and the screws will not show because you have all those feathers. So this was actually surprisingly easy, this part. So then you do the other wing, and then just lift it up and just kind of shake it a little bit just to make sure everything is nice and tight, because it would be a lot harder to fix later. And then you're adding the tail feathers, and you're using the drill again. So we're not using glue so far at all, because the drill is definitely more secure. And once again, you're just drilling through in between those feathers, so you're not drilling through anything itself. And then I'm going to add that small piece of wood, but as you could see, I'm already seeing a trouble, because in the middle of the feather, you know, that little piece of meat that was still on it that completely dried up, it's super hard and it sticks out a little too much. So I'm just simply sanding it down so that it's in line with that piece of wood, because on top of that is where I'm putting that face plate, and I don't want it to wobble too much because it will just be harder to attach. That one I'm not going to drill because I want it to look nice. So for that one I'm going to have to use glue. But for this piece of wood I can actually drill it through it, and as you could see, my screws are too short, so I found this drill bit. Luckily I find all kinds of stuff at my house, so I found this drill bit and I just drilled into the wood just a little so that the nail can go, or the screw can go a little deeper, and then it's easier to attach it. Before I drill that small piece of wood in place, I do want to lay everything out and just kind of play around with everything, because I'm still not sure exactly what it will look like. So I'm just lining everything up, and if I'm happy with what it looks like, then I just grab the drill and just put those spurs, you know, those 2 feet in place. I'm still just using the drill. It's so much easier than the glue. That would take too long and too messy and may not even be too secure. So finally putting that piece in, because that's just where it's gonna go. And I have a problem. So the beard, as you could see, it completely fell apart during this past year. So that means I kind of have to hide the end of it, and everybody's always so proud of how many inches that beard is. So I'm just basically taking off 1 or 2 inches, but that's okay. That's just how it's gonna be. The way I'm using this faceplate is that I wanted to put the date and the location of where I got this turkey, and I'm just using this brown marker, and I think it kind of looks nice. It looks like as if I maybe burnt it in the wood, but I just used the marker, and then I'm giving it a few layers of that clear spray paint. You could actually use like the really thick lacquer type that you brush it on. That would have been nicer, but I just wanted to get it done with. So this is when I added the thread and the needle. Actually, there's no needle, sorry, just the thread. I just basically used it to tie it around and then glued it together, so that it stays in one place and it's not just gonna fall out. In the meanwhile, I realized that the glue I was using, that was just really not good. There's wooden glue, you know, something you would use for wood, but also it's good for other materials. It's so much better. I have used it before. It actually dries much quicker. It kind of bubbles up and everything, but that's okay with me because it will be hidden, the glued part. So you kind of have to improvise as you go along, which that's what I usually have to do. So I'm adding that glue to everything. I completely took out the other one. And here I'm trying to fix the tail because those bottom couple of feathers, they just really stick up. This is definitely not laying flat, not the way I wanted it, but at this point I can't change anything. So like I said before, I have saved a lot of the feathers because you never know what you're gonna need it for. So I'm just breaking one off, and then this other one, using the glue, I'm placing it in its place. So this is actually an easy way to fix the feather. Also, if your feathers are not really lined up right and you have some gaps, you can also add more. You could take some out if they are really crooked, so that really is an easy fix. As you can see, I also utilized some of those smaller feathers that I removed from the back of the tail. I am basically covering the beard just a little, just so that it looks nice, so that it kind of peeks out from in between, and I have some feathers hanging. And then I'm gluing on this faceplate, and that's the one that will take the longest to dry. You need to put a really thick layer of glue on it. And I should have done this actually way before, but I guess it's never too late. I'm turning everything over. I mean, everything is nice and secure, and just adding those hooks so that I could hang it in my room. So this here is the final product. It's not perfect, but I think it's mostly because of how I preserved everything. That wasn't perfect, but now I will know how to do it next time. I am actually very happy that I have this because this is my third turkey. Because the first one, I just had the tail and I didn't even do it the right way. It wasn't 180 degrees. And eventually my dog Misha jumped up on my couch and ate the whole thing. The second turkey, that was a couple of years ago. I was saving it in the garage, and after a few months the dogs got to it, ate the whole thing. So this one I have been very careful with, and it's been a year. I kind of got busy, couldn't really get to it, but here it is. So I have one room in my house where the ceiling is so big the dogs will not get to it. So I am going to go put it up right now. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or any comments or any suggestions on how to do this next time, just leave me a comment and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.